July 22nd, 2018, Sunday. Um, I, I'm probably going to let this record and I'll pause it when I feel like I'm stuck between thoughts. That way it's not however long of me just sitting off staring into space. Because I don't really know where to start. I I'm I'm like I've probably been several times before, so very certain that I'm tired of what my job is. Of not programming most of the time, of being at the whims of whatever emergency comes roaring through at work. Of having to worry about so many different things that I really don't care to worry about. I care to solve problems. I care to use that degree that cost me my physical and mental and emotional health and is gonna in the end cost me probably in the end 30,000 or so in debt by the time I'm done paying them all. And what cost me a relationship that I held beyond very dear. I want to use that thing most of the time again. And I'm not. And pay and benefits package and people I work with and usefulness and all of that doesn't mean anything in the face of I am not one to want to deal with emergencies. I am not one that wants to not know sometimes if I'm going to be able to go home on time or not. I don't want it to be that this project that's supposed to be given to me on a Monday eventually leaks into me needing to test over the weekend, because it's not as great as it should be. And it's just not giving me when I'm supposed to be getting it. I am not okay anymore with knowing that my whole July and part of August I need to pretty much black out from a social standpoint because I can't say for sure I can be doing anything. I mean, I have the potential plans to go see Byron and Bree, and I believe it's August 3rd, and that's to celebrate Travis's birthday. I mean, I had to say I may or may not be able to go. And that still stands. Oh yeah, we went through a bunch of great testing the past 2 weeks, plus weekend, plus day on a weekend, plus extra hour on at least one evening, and extra couple of minutes on another evening. And we're still probably 2 weeks out from saying that we're done with all the convention testing, maybe even 3. Which, looking at some of these projects, makes me kind of wonder, why were all of these stacked up like this? How important were every last one of these projects? How important was all this stuff? We still seem to have a large gulf of time before this stuff's supposed to be going. I mean, who is trying to direct traffic on this? There's nobody higher up that would have said, hey, wait a second, we're log-jamming a bunch of projects? There's none of that. It can't be on all of us in QA because we're too busy actually testing everything that they're trying to log-jam through half the time. And it's very easy for it to be, well, we want to push back. No, let's go right now. Okay, where was the information when this was first assigned? Where was the information when we first heard this due date? They say they want to go do Scrum and all of that, but all I'm doing my Scrumming is sitting there going, oh yeah, interesting, I'm not contributing anything. I'm not testing anything until it gets to staging, which is what we've been doing anyway. Maybe it's just been the projects that I've been on that they can't put anything into the development environment for me to start testing with, but why isn't there any planning to allow that to happen? Why is that still not happening? We're supposed to have some meeting, I think it's Tuesday morning, where we're supposed to meet with the head of project management office and talk about all of this. Although I've been in Market America 4.5 years, I know what's gonna happen. This is not me being simple, this is me just saying I know what I've seen. I'm not seeing it change overnight. We'll say all of this and they'll try to do it, and it's still gonna be a cluster for a long time. It's still gonna be messy. You're still gonna be paying automation engineers to do a bunch of manual testing. You're still, instead of automating all of your testing, going to have essentially manual testers with a computer science degree. Not interested. I love the people I work with. I know that I've got a great manager that not only gave me an opportunity to try to get my own affairs in order by working almost 4.5 years ago, but is sometimes straight up put with my shit. And I'm thankful for that, I really am. That's why I have been very hesitant to try to leave ever. It's because I do owe some of that to him. It's why I've gutted through this long sometimes. Like, well, no, I owe it to him to try for at least X amount of time. And it's why I was more than willing, this is my own private thing, when one of the new guys was going to start off with training him, be like, I'll put off until I feel like he's ready to go, but that's going to overlap with the convention, so I went to the convention. I owe that to him, I owe it to my coworkers, and not just vanish. Admittedly, another thing that's held me back is that I've wanted to have this perfectly crafted argument that my manager can't counter with. Because before, there's probably been a good counter argument of, well, I'm just frustrated about blah, I'm frustrated about personal life or whatever, yeah. And the problem can go back to, I can just be fine with stuff. The problem can go back to, off and on I've had a dream job and dream career in my mind, but I don't know, there was nothing to ever really, lock it in place, to really kick it into gear where that's what I was gonna do. I mean, it was probably for a short while teaching, and then I think the first time I can say I probably truly had a dream job in mind was, wanting to make video games, which my dad shifted to being programming. That kind of faded off, and, I've kind of had the idea in my head a couple of times to, maybe try to make video games, or try to do YouTube videos, or whatever, and again, it's never really been, except for maybe short little bursts, this serious thing that I really wanted to try to do. So that's probably another problem that I have, is that I can't tell you for a fact this is exactly what I'm aiming to do afterwards. I might just do another QA test automation job somewhere. That's what I might end up doing if I want to go away from Market America. Or maybe it is doing a development job, or maybe I should be trying to see if I can make some type of online thing my career, or maybe I should find a whole other career path entirely. Maybe, I have no idea what it would be. I don't know if I'll go for school for anything, but I don't know. But again, it's just I know that my manager's going to try to fight back against it and try to make absolutely sure and all that. Which could kind of become a reason why I'd want to, is because I understand he wants everybody to be better. And I've potentially mentioned this in some other blog somewhere. It becomes such a feeling of school that it's frustrating. I want to get better in life. I want to do all of that. But so very often it really feels like some of the stuff that he's trying to say is just, it's trying to be too much of a teacher, mentor, whatever. Many times I'm like, I'm just here for my job, man. I know you want me to be better, but I'm also here just to do my job, man. Just want to do my job, put a 9 to 5, go home, get paid. That's all I want to do. Not trying to be better necessarily in the way that you want me to be better in. Not right now, I don't care. Because that's obviously my thing. Man, I want to program. I want to code. I think that's really what I want to do as a career. It's a great one. But there's nothing saying that I wouldn't try to do some other career. I have to admit, though, that I am frustrated that I've let my apartment fall into a bit of disarray again. I can blame that on work. I am also frustrated that I've started to do the Good News R stuff and let that fall off again. I started streaming games, then I stopped all over again. And some of that is work. And some of it's probably just kind of letting things slip away from me. So there's still some of that too. And maybe just in my own brain, it's still trying to say, well, no, one thing being better is not enough. Everything needs to be better, which is annoying and a block. Because it's like, well, no, we need to make sure that job is good first. No point to try to do all this extra extraneous stuff if it's going to rely on you making so much money, if you're going to potentially lose job. And when I say it like that, it sounds like I'm almost scared to lose my job, like my dad got laid off, which isn't the case. I'm not scared of that. I'll probably have the, James L. Spitzer paranoia that I inherited, of just being scared of that any time anyway. But my manager's gonna do his damnedest to have it be a very slow process for me losing my job. Although I know right now I'm not doing my best work, and I know that it can very easily blow up in my face if I'm not careful. So that's the other thing, is that I know I haven't been doing my job to the best of my ability. I have been cutting corners. I have been just like, well, as long as people shut up and nobody has to bug me anymore. And I can kind of like fib or lie my way through some stuff. I'll admit that. And it's probably all the more reason why I need to just move on, because we don't have the staff. I'm being tasked with doing, might as well say, 4 jobs. Test automation engineer, manual testing for this code, manual testing for the other company that we own, and having to be the administrator of tickets for my PM and all that. Or the main tester or whatever. Again, it's not my interest. I don't really care. I don't want to care. It's frustrating. I don't care how much I'm being paid. I still need to get better about handling all this other stuff though anyway, and not just keep letting it rot. Although this weekend was kind of stomped all over by some stomach issues, but also by having to work for a full day. Probably the big thing that's probably sparked this current frustration is that I had having a nice 5-day weekend for the 4th of July weekend, or for that, and I kind of just sat around and let it slip away and rot. That part of that was on me. So some of that's probably on frustration. But I've been seriously contemplating just moving on to another job anyway, ever since the guy that had worked at Market America for probably about 3 years left. He was getting close to 3 years, I think. Yeah, it was close to 3 years. And he left, and I wish him well, and it's great for him. But it was a major cog in the machine that kind of just vanished. And certain things he's responsible for are now in the hands of people that I like them as people. But I also am a little bit leery that they're not going to do the job necessarily to the best of their ability either. Or we have to rely on others to do it. I probably need to just tackle some of these things during the evening. No matter how tired or frustrated I am. Although I've had several evenings where I've had to be called randomly. So I'd be in the middle of trying to do something. Just thought, oh yeah, you need to work for extra hours because this emergency thing. That's all the more reason. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. I know it's not common, I know that it's rare, but yeah. Don't know anything about tell us now, yeah. I think I had maybe 2 evenings, maybe 3 in a row. Or at least 1, maybe 2, I think. It's probably 2 evenings where I got home, got called, hey, can you get on and do some testing? Now, I wasn't doing anything on those evenings or 2. I usually don't do much of anything on the evenings. Every evening I've been told to work later hasn't been that big of a deal. But now that I got stuff I need to probably take care of throughout the week more so than I do. Probably can't just let that happen. Yeah, I'm proud of myself for thinking about that. And I can also look at how it's approaching a certain point where at my job I'll be able to say, and I'm probably closer than I realize, that I've spent more time without the guarantee of being able to work on automation full time than I've had that assurance. Because the first almost 2.5 years, it was truly a rare occasion, and it was a rare thing to have to not do automation all day. But then, after a conference a few years back, we started on what was a few months of automation team not touching automation for long stretches of time, if ever. And we've gone back to it from time to time, but more and more often, it's been that specter hanging overhead, where at any moment we could be asked to work on something with manual testing. And it not be a special occasion, it'd just be, hey, I randomly need you to work on this. And then it was probably a year after that first, that I guess you can call it that crossover point. They were told how the other company did their they did their QAing and all that, and their process and all that. I remember thinking to myself, I really don't care. I really don't. And I still really don't. As I keep getting their random tickets I don't frickin' care about. I have reason to, and I'm going to see if I can, just once the convention has happened, just take that following week off. By the justification, because I'm going to Raw with Deanna. That's going to be great. I'm going to Raw anyway. Just hopefully Deanna will not have anything come up. Hopefully she'll be able to make it. It'll be awesome. It'll be a great time. It will be. She'll be there. It's going to be awesome. Yes. Anyway. I'll take that day off. Take the following day off already. And then I'm going to see if I can take out the rest of that week. And I'll need to take that time to really just truly reflect. With as good of a break point as there is. Just reflect on where I've been, how I've been, how everything has gone the past almost 4.5 years at my job. How they've been since that turnover point where I feel like it switched from automation truly being my focus to it slowly becoming a background task more and more often. How it's been for me this year, because this year is a year that I've really just... I finally got a new laptop. That's a big thing for me. I finally took Olive to the vet. I've probably started taking care of a few more things, including my mental health. And it's probably, not the first time, but a major time that I've had to say, okay, stop. Quit trying to march towards this random goal in the future. And try to get the here and now all good. And I keep talking about new job, new job, new job. I think I need to actually do it. But I also need to keep doing a good job right now. Just need to get to mid-August. And I think I can make it. I'm really hopeful I can. Whether it's just through sheer chaos that I won't potentially get caught with anything, or it'll be like, well, of course he couldn't have caught that. There's too much other stuff going on. Or just I keep actually doing a really good job, or whatever it is. If I can get there, that'll be a big deal. And if I can get there, I can start thinking about the next steps. The next big, important steps. And maybe finally get this place a lot more organized, because I'm at least to stay here another year. And just... I can't explain the shift in mindset that I feel like I'm going to try to make. It not necessarily being so much, oh, this next big great thing, but it being that it's the next thing for me to take care of. I still really need to go to the eye doctor, and maybe I can finally tackle that on this upcoming week that I want to take off. And also part of my new lease is going to be I'm going to get cable along with my internet. I just need to get a cable box and probably switch services around. So if you cancel what I have, just have it go through what's my Fusion apartment complex. No, I'm blanking on the name at the moment. But that's mid-September. That's on a Friday when I'd want to do it, and I could even if I was at a new job, I was like, hey, I gotta take care of some internet cable stuff real quick. I have to go talk to them and pick up box and all that, and whether it's Market America, whether it's new place, like, yeah, sure, whatever. Of course, I don't know if I'd find a new job that quickly, because that'd be only maybe a month of me trying, but trying to get a new job it makes me think about. I'm of course going to put in a 2 weeks notice, or more if I have the ability to. But it's a conversation that, for various reasons, I'm not sure if scared or uneasy or hesitant or whatever to have. What word I'm looking for, but it's a conversation that I don't necessarily look forward to pretty much. I'm not wanting to have it, I guess, no matter what word you want to use as its inverse. Hesitant, scared, leery, whatever. Because part of me is like, well, I don't want to argue. There's nothing that you can say, probably. And I'm probably like, well, it might be something you can say, you never know. But I still have to counter with, but I know what my job's going to look like. I've said I know what it's going to look like, and it's not going to be assuring automation. Even the most optimistic thought is still going to have to give way to, but we know how this place works, and we know that any change is going to take a while, and we also know that the longer something is allegedly going to take, the more opportunity there is for other things to stomp all over it, and for it to take even longer. And I do like working with him. I do really like him. I do. There's times where I do really kind of just wish something would happen. Something would happen, man, and just make it crystal clear. And probably like I've done with several other things, I've just let certain things that could have been that concrete reason be forgiven. Or anything I'd want to claim on to, be like, that's a weak reason now, all of a sudden. I've been through hell and high water at Market America. I've dealt with some bad times there. I've dealt with some rough transitions. I guess the only thing that I've thought, this is probably how the conversation's going to have to go, it's sometimes a relationship that could easily last, and it keeps going through some rough patches, but sometimes a relationship will falter, not because, well, somebody cheated on the other, or, well, we didn't have to drift it apart. It's because the people have gone through so many hard times that things that used to not be a problem become major issues. And it just falters because just things that used to not be a problem are bigger issues because the foundation's been rocked by major problems. It's kind of what I feel like I'm at, where if you chop off maybe a year or two of rough, choppy times, I'd potentially be more willing to wait it out. But I've seen how our processes and our requests and all that can get trampled on. And I also keep seeing some of the exact same problems that we've talked about for years, holes in our regression and run times and retry analyzing and just PM's not getting us what we need and all of that. It's just so many things that we still haven't fixed, or we fixed and then they broke it in some other way, so the same thing happened all over again. I think for the first time we can potentially, hold on a second, I think the first time we can potentially say that this team's actually grown. Is that the case? No, I think no, we might be at best probably about the same we've always been at, I think. Yeah, I think that we're just back to the number we've had before, I think. It's all the same stuff on a different day all the time. Although I will say that I think that this time of me wanting to move on is very different from others, because others were out of anger. This is me probably being about as level-headed as I can be, just going, it's not my thing anymore. Just not. This has run for a lot longer than I anticipated. Maybe this gets uploaded. You've watched this far. Thank you. I'm not sure I've said anything really new, but if you've listened, thank you. Guess I'm done for now. Just need to make it through the next 2 or 3 weeks. Then maybe a new future.